All right, everybody. Good afternoon. What is going on this day after Thanksgiving Day? I'll tell you what's going on. We've got some game statuses for the Seahawks Vikings game this weekend. We've got the final injury report up on the screen here. We got Nemhauser with the Seahawks side. We're going to go to the Vikings official X account for their side in a minute here, but first, let's spend some time talking about these Seahawks and their injuries, although I'll tell you, it's not going to take very long because the news is almost all good. I don't think you could have asked for too much more, and as long as things don't get funky tonight or tomorrow, you're going to see, I'm not going to say the whole Seahawks squad together this weekend because we do have a lot of guys on injured reserve, but you are going to see about as good a scenario as you could have hoped for when the week started. So let's take a look at the image here after the break. All right, guys, before I go any further, I want to tell you guys about my buddies over at Sleeper. And let me tell you, if you're not using Sleeper for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Check out the left side of your screen right now. Look at all the fun stuff you can get up to. Look at all the stuff you can pick one way or the other on. I've got an entry for this week, the Thanksgiving week of football. We got George Pickens over 75.5 yards against Kansas City. I got Chase Brown and JSN scoring anytime touchdowns in their respective games. And I've got Josh Allen throwing for at least 2 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. Get on over there. You can put together bet slips just like this one. And if you use promo code SBN, that is SBN, you can get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check out Sleeper today. Go put your picks down and have fun with sports this year. All right, so Seahawks side of things, you can see the list is long, but I'll move my head so you can see the whole thing for a second here. Almost everybody doesn't even have a game status, which means they are fully expected to play, and there's no reason to believe they're not going to play. So that means Ernest Jones should be good to go. I imagine that he's going to be a full participant today unless he's getting rest today in practice, so nothing to worry about there. Cooper Kupp, he was resting in the first place, same with DeMarcus Lawrence, but no game status there. Mike Morris, full participation yesterday, probably again today. No game status, good to go. Uchenna Nwosu, same thing. After some concern earlier this week, no game status indicates that he's pretty close to 100%. JSN was resting in the first place, same with Leonard Williams. No concern about Ken Walker, so that's cool. Cody White as well, and Gray Zabel. Yeah, Gray Zabel, apparently about as past that ankle injury as you can possibly hope for. And there's no doubt in the mind of this team that he's going to suit up and go this Sunday. So pretty much all good, man. Nwosu could have gone one way or the other earlier this week, but now apparently we got nothing really to worry about. We got one player questionable, which is Okada. And honestly, questionable is better than I expected based on where we were when we started the week. So he may not go, and if he doesn't go, that's not great because you've got Quandre Diggs and D'Anthony Bell competing for safety reps. And then, of course, you got Kobe Bryant, but you're kind of down to the very back of the line in terms of your safeties. But the fact that he's even questionable at this point is actually pretty encouraging because earlier this week I would have expected probably we're probably not going to have him the way they were talking. And we do have 2 players listed as out, but they're Riley Mills, who we haven't had all year, and I don't think we're going to have until maybe the last game or 2 of the year anyway, and that's fine. We don't need him. Not a big deal. And George Holani, who, again, fully expected, especially after we signed Cam Ward. So no real concern there. No real issue there. Mills and Holani are not players that are going to be terribly missed. Holani only really does special teams and maybe gets 2 or 3 snaps a game. And, of course, Mills has never played an NFL snap before. If we don't have Okada, I don't love that, but at the same time, if that's the worst thing we're dealing with, we are doing very well for ourselves. So, hey, look, there are issues with this team that relate to injuries. We do have issues with things like Jaron Reed, Julian Love, Torrey Horton, some guys like that. But this is clean, especially for this point in this NFL season. Now, as far as the Vikings go, they've got some question marks here. They've got some issues. Of course, the big one, because as recently as yesterday, there was some discussion and some belief on the part of some pundits that follow the Minnesota Vikings that J.J. McCarthy was actually going to be able to go this weekend. Not so. He is out. J.J. McCarthy is out this weekend. So we're not going to get him. We're getting Max Brosmer. And if he were to get hurt, then you're going to see either John Wolford or Desmond Ridder. Don't know which one they're actually going to bring into the game there, but my understanding is they have both guys. I think Ritter's on the practice squad. And we remember Wolford a little bit because he was a Ram for a little while there. But it's not J.J. McCarthy. Probably going to be getting a full dose of Max Brosmer, so we'll see where that takes us. Donovan Jackson also out. Their starting left guard, and look, he was one of their primary pieces that they brought in for the rookie class, and one of the big things they brought in to kind of revamp their offensive line. So Donovan Jackson, he's I'm not saying that he's a stellar player. I don't think any rookie offensive lineman is going to be a stellar player in general. Just you would never expect that. But I do know that without him out there, you are going to go to a guy who is a right guard and try to put him at left guard for a game, and that typically doesn't go well. So a significant loss. They also have quite a bit going on that is questionable. Christian Darrisaw starting left tackle. I don't know how much he practiced today, if he practiced at all, but I would say that his odds do not look great based on the information that we know. Jonathan Greenard, questionable, which that's probably a little bit more shaky than the Vikings were hoping for. Important player for their defense. Theo Jackson, I believe he's mostly a special teamer, but safety for them, questionable. Josh Metellus, a starting safety for them, also questionable. And now we got the Jalen Redmond thing, who I talked about yesterday. He kind of showed up out of nowhere. Now he's questionable. If he can't go, that defensive line that is already kind of, it's not getting what they were hoping out of a lot of these players. It's going to get even worse. So this Vikings team, they got problems. And even if you don't believe that J.J. McCarthy could possibly be better than whatever Brosmer is going to give you, the Donovan Jackson, Christian Darrisaw, Jonathan Greenard, Josh Metellus, Jalen Redmond stuff is very, very significant. And I would say they're in a worse state than we are right now, injury-wise. Okay, that's it for the injury report. That's what we're looking at. So we have the information. Now we just have to see exactly which way the cookie crumbles on game day. All right, see everybody later today or tomorrow. Go Hawks. And there's your injury report. So let's see what happens next.